Hello friends, hello. My name is Janessa Oriel. I'm the head of community here at Sell with Amy, and I am so excited to be able to be live here with you. And I am excited to dive in today because we're going to talk all about collections. Now, of course, it is early November, which is the selling season. Congratulations, we're here. Not only are you ready, ideally, but your customers are starting to think about what they want to gift to others for the holiday season. The customers or your customers or prospective customers are ready to shop, and we want to make sure that your collections are up to date and they have exactly what they need so that way your customers can find what they're looking for quickly and easily, as opposed to being bombarded with all the other messages that are being sent out there in the world trying to vie for their attention, right? So let's talk about collections. Before I dive into that, I just want to highlight right here, if you've not yet set your goals for the month, I encourage you to do that right now, okay? You can do that while watching this video, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching what we like to call our hashtag after party, the replay. So please make sure that you set your goals if you've not already done so. But again, because it is November, we recognize that most people are excited to make things happen this month. And so I am sure that you've already set your goal. All right, to collections. So there's two ways to get to collections. One is to go to the account tab. This is my favorite way. It's the lower right-hand corner. When you go to that lower right-hand corner, you actually can see collections are just beneath the storefront over there. The other way to get to collections, if you select the product tab, down at the bottom of whatever categories you may or may not have here is my product collections. You can go ahead and open that. When you do that, it'll show you by default all collections. Same if you go get to collections by account, the account tab shows the same thing. So it shows you all the collections. First checkup. First thing we want to talk about is how many collections do you have in all? We don't care so much about this, right? But you want to actually take a peek. How many are actually on your storefront? Okay, we want to make sure there's a minimum of 4 collections on your storefront. Why 4? Because what happens is when you take a peek at your storefront, when you go to scroll, we want to make sure that those 4 are filled out. You can have as many collections as you want on your storefront. However, the more you add, the more scrolling there is, the more overwhelming or potential it is to be overwhelming for your customers. And so we do encourage somewhere between 4 and like 16, maybe 20. That feels like a lot, right? It depends on your company as well, and how many products you have, how many times you're using the same products in different collections. But we're going to talk all about that today. So let's start with the all. So the reason I'm starting here is, of course, there's many things here. Some of the examples are host favorites. That's not actually going to be over on the storefront, but when someone books a party, I want to be able to make sure that I recommend some of the things that people host a party for. And so, for example, that's a collection that you might want to create if you're with a party plan, because you want your customers to see what they could earn free and discounted if they were with to host a party or an event with you. So host favorites is an example of something that is good. I might have one, maybe I have some items that I don't want to, like fun things and the items you can't live without. Oddly enough, you can see when they were last updated, they're the same date. I might actually take a peek at these two and get rid of one of them. Why? Because they're sort of similar, right? Or maybe I would update the fun things title to say items you can't live without. But we want to go ahead and periodically, and hello, November is the time to periodically do things, right? We're going to go through and we're going to take a look and see if there's anything that we don't need anymore, okay? So for example, I'm going to take a peek at fun things. I'm going to view that collection. And I'm just going to scroll and see, okay, those are fun things. Of course they are, right? And then I'm going to go back to Amy and I'm going to take a peek at items you can't live without. The goal is to make sure, view collection. So these things are items you can't live without, but they're not nearly as fun. Maybe this is a collection that I no longer need. You can delete collections. You can do it right here. Now, I'm only suggesting that because if, for example, when you're doing a party, whether it be a virtual or in person, you might be introducing things in the fun things category. You can share the fun things here. You want to make sure that it's rounded out. What does a rounded out collection look like? First thing, there's a header. Second, there's more than, again, we're going to say 4 products. Why? When we view the collection, you see that header here, okay? When you shop the collection, you can go ahead and scroll down. If you only had 2 things here, then it's not really much of a collection, right? We want to give them some options, maybe not a million, because again, the goal of collections is to help reduce decision fatigue, especially for those who are using or who are being introduced to your products for the first time. So for example, here is the starter kit for the pineapple store as an example. Let's go ahead and take a peek at that. You want to have, there's some collections that you almost always want to have. What do people typically buy first when they buy from you and from your company? You want to be able to have a getting started collection. What do people need to have refills on? You want to make sure if you have consumable type products that you have a collection with those items that they're going to need to refresh and replenish, right? Those that are coming back to you, you want to make sure that you have a collection, things you can't live without, as an example. I think that's the title of the collection we just discussed. But you want to be able to have a getting started, things you can't live without. You want to have, where is it? The host favorites, again, if you have party plan, my favorite, my face care routine, as an example. You want to have like your favorite. You as the consultant and expert, people are curious and they want to know what you know, like, and trust. So you want to make sure to have a collection that highlights that. These are favorite pineapple goods. So for example, this collection, as I mentioned previously, a great collection will have a photo in the header, right? Because it's my favorite pineapple goods, that's why I used a selfie of it. And so you want to make sure you're personalizing your collections and sharing some things that you really like. As you scroll down, you can see some of the things that I really like. People get curious. They want to know your style or your type. They want to know what products you really enjoy, even if it's not necessarily their style. People are genuinely curious. So again, something to get started. What are some things that they're going to need to come back to? You want to make sure that you're listing your favorite goods from your company. You want to make sure that people, because you're going to be sharing about those, so you want to make sure to have a collection for that. You want to have collections that are specialty. So if you are in foods, you want to make sure that you have collections of food products that are relevant to current food-like trends, right? For example, we're hitting fall, it's getting warm, or it's getting cold outside. We all want to bundle and snuggle up, and so you might have foods that are related to that if you work or if you're with a company that does home-related things, smells, blankets, whatever. You want to make sure that you've got some seasonal relevant collections as well, okay? So we're bundling those together. So we want to make sure that you take a peek at all of your collections. Let's go back here. Start on the storefront because it's less overwhelming, right? What's the difference between all and on the storefront? As mentioned previously, if I want to just copy this link and share it with somebody that is a host or a prospective host, maybe someone's trying to round out their purchases after a party. They want to use their rewards. You can send this to somebody, but you would not highlight that on your storefront unless you were actively looking to book a lot of parties. And even then, it's probably better to keep it here, so that way you can always link and share it, but it's not necessarily on the storefront, so that way it's not super out there. Okay, so I encourage you. Here's what we're going to do. I encourage you to go through all of your collections, make sure that you've got some good ones rounded out, and then make sure that the ones that are on the storefront are super relevant. They're timely, they're your personal recommendations, as we mentioned previously. And then I strongly encourage you, this is when it gets fun, as homework, okay, I went back down to the account tab, lower right-hand corner, the gear. I'm going to encourage you to copy that storefront link and go ahead and paste that in the comments. I would love to be able to work with you to offer suggestions to make sure that your collections are, to see what work you've done, and then also make some suggestions to make sure that your storefront is a really well-rounded experience for your customers. So I'd love to be able to see and help. If you drop your storefront in the comments, I'll make sure to address them. It may take a day or two, but we want to make sure that you have that storefront ready as this selling season begins and is kicked off, because we want to make sure that your customers can quickly and easily find your products and make great things happen. So thanks so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you next week as well. I'm seeing lots of friends here. We have Stephanie and Ida and Sheila and Melanie. Aline is always late. I love it. So she's hashtag after party. It's totally fine. Thanks so much for joining me live. I look forward to seeing your storefronts. Yes, I'm calling all of you out. Again, even those that are watching on the after party, drop your storefront in the comments so that way we can go ahead and do a deep dive, right? All right, let's get selling. Bye, friends.